Hello, my name is Daniel Granados, and I'm here to talk about implementing a carbon tax. But before I talk about the carbon tax, we first gotta look at what's the problem at hand and why am I talking about this. First, one of the biggest ongoing issues of our time is the effect of global warming and climate change. Climate change is primarily driven by the accumulation of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide in the Earth's atmosphere. These gases trap heat, leading to global warming and a range of catastrophic impacts, including sea level rise, melting ice caps, and unprecedented weather patterns. Such ongoing issue is highly driven by human activities, primarily from the burning of fossil fuels for energy, industrial processes, and deforestation, which are the largest contributors to global greenhouse gas emissions. These emissions are not only fueling the greenhouse effect, they're also fueling this mutated climate change. Climate change poses significant risks to ecosystems, biodiversity, food security, water resources, and human health. Addressing this issue requires urgent and effective efforts to reduce emissions and thus lower the impacts of climate change. And as of today, the US is the second leader in CO2 emissions, only second to China, at 5,057 million tons of CO2 per year. And to battle these impacts, the US has implemented multiple policies that target climate change. For example, the Renewable Fuel Standard Program, which was made to focus on reducing greenhouse gas emissions and expanding the nation's renewable fuel sector while reducing the reliance on import oil. Another example is the Inflation Reduction Act, which focuses on lowering the energy costs for consumers and small businesses while creating good-paying jobs as America's clean energy economy and manufacturing sectors grow. Another significant event that happened recently in the end of 2023 was the 20th annual United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP28 for short. In the COP28, the US proudly demonstrated and showed the results of how they're targeting climate change, and they motivated other countries to do the same and to unite against for the common goal to create this world a better place, a better, greener place. Now, back to the back to the focus of this conference. A policy that I believe will further benefit the battle against climate change is the carbon tax. To put it simply, a carbon tax is an economical mechanism designed to put a price to each ton of CO2 emitted. This will create an economic incentive which will aim to reduce emissions and transition to cleaner energy sources while creating revenue. And simply, the whole population will be required to pay the tax, which will be based on the quantity of CO2 they release into the atmosphere. A carbon tax has multiple benefits. It has environmental, economic, and social benefits. On the environmental side, implementing a carbon tax can lead to significant reductions in greenhouse gas emissions, which will contribute to the global efforts to mitigate the climate change and thus limit the global warming to lower the global warming to lower and safer levels. On the economic side, like I said before, the carbon tax will generate revenue, which can be reinvested in clean energy projects, research, and development of greener technology. On the social side, by reducing pollution and mitigating climate-related risks, it has the ability to create jobs in the green economy, which is a term used by the United Nations Environment Program, which refers to the development of and promotion of resource efficiency, minimize waste and pollution, and prioritize the use of renewable energy and natural resources. Now, the main challenge of this carbon tax will be the implementation. So, as other revenue rising bills, they need to start in the House of Representatives. And like many people, me included, taxes is not well received with the population. No one really likes taxes. And as many other bills, Congress is the most difficult stage to pass through. In order to pass through Congress, a detail-based development of the policy is required. So, first, the tax rate. Determining the appropriate tax rate is crucial. So the average person emits 20 tons of CO2 every year. And so we need to put a price that would not harm the lower income earners or population and actually be a form of equality on every person. So a carbon tax rate should be at a level that reflects the social cost of carbon, taking into account the environmental and economic damages which are associated with the climate change. Not only that, the carbon tax should cover a broad range of emission sources to ensure the effectiveness. So for example, this may include the emissions from the energy production, transportation, industry, and agriculture. Not only that, to get better support with the people, determining where to allocate the revenue gained from this tax is extremely crucial. If done correctly, it can, like I said before, it can raise support among the public. The options for this can include, like I said before, investing in clean energy infrastructure, funding research, and the development of green technologies. Not only that, it could provide tax cuts to households and businesses and support the vulnerable communities which are impacted by the transitions to a low carbon economy. And thus, this can actually help with the other challenges we have, since a carbon tax can hold economic concerns, like, for example, if not done correctly, a lot of people will not support it, since they will have to think about the effects on how much money you're actually getting. And with the rise of the inflation if this is done correctly, it will really do better for the policy itself. Another challenge will be the transition from fossil fuels to more green alternatives, since we're mostly used to our cars using gas and using fossil fuels to energize the whole businesses and industries. We need also to develop better, more green alternatives. For example, the electric cars that we're seeing today, in order to slowly transition to this. In order for that, I would say strategy is also crucial. So a phased introduction could lower the uncertainty and the load onto the population. This will be a step-by-step process by slowly adding this rate and go year by year, slowly start to add up and raise the rate into the targeted rate per person. That way, people can adjust into the snowball effect little bit by bit. That way, the load and responsibility of this tax would not be such a hard struck, such a hard hit on everyone. Not only that, the policy must ensure the burden of the carbon tax is distributed fairly. That way, the people who actually emit the most are the ones not to pay the most. For example, the large companies and the rich who own a private jet, for example, a private jet, for example. But thank you again for listening to my presentation, and here are my sources.